the third in line to the throne. Our new prince is the third grandchild of Majesty the Queen and the great grandchild of the Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. May he be long-lived, happy and glorious, and one day reign over us. God save the Queen!
Here comes the notice. Let's just enjoy this moment. Elsa Anderson and one of the livery footmen.
Elsa Anderson is the Queen's press secretary.
A very simple, by the looks of it, statement. If we can read it from here. Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Cambridge, was safely delivered of a son at 4:24 p.m. today. Her Royal Highness and her child are both doing well. Signed there by some of the medical team who attended to her birth.
It's wonderful news from St Mary's Paddington, and I'm sure that right across the country and indeed right across the Commonwealth, people will be celebrating and wishing the royal couple well. It is an important moment in the life of our nation, but I suppose above all it's a wonderful moment for a warm and loving couple who got a brand new baby boy. It's been a remarkable few years for our royal family, a royal wedding that captured people's hearts, that extraordinary and magnificent jubilee, and now this royal birth, all from a family that have given this nation so much incredible service. And they can know that a proud nation is celebrating with a very proud and happy couple tonight.
I can tell you that the Duchess of Cambridge, as the statement says, has been delivered of a son, and so we know that that will be a Prince of Cambridge, and he will be the first Prince of Cambridge to be born for more than 190 years. The last was the grandson of George III, and you can hear the cheers there.
Absolutely.
Disseminated.
Huge crowds have been gathered here, of course, all day, growing throughout the day, and you can hear them in the background, I'm sure, cheering at the news that the Duchess of Cambridge has given birth to a son. And Peter, after all our discussions about the changes to the laws of succession and much anticipation that perhaps if she had a daughter, here we would be seeing really a very historic moment with centuries of tradition overturned. Well, then she goes and has a boy.
Still an historic moment, but not as historic as it could have been. This boy, this baby boy. I'm still waiting for the email to load so I can tell you its weight and correct time of birth. But this boy will be a monarch of 16 countries. It will be Supreme Governor of the Church of England. It possibly will be head of the armed forces. It will be head of the armed forces, possibly head of the Commonwealth. So quite a lot of weight on this tiny little baby just after it's uttered its first cry and had its first breath.
And Peter, obviously, we imagine that the change to the plan was published, if you like, the expected plan of the announcement of the birth. That's happened because of, I presume, Kensington Palace's concerns that the news would leak out ahead of the scheduled announcement.
I think it's about leaking. I think they just decided this would be simpler and easier. I mean, their initial plan, and they always admitted that the initial plan may be tinkered. It's been tinkered with rather significantly.
Sorry, Peter, I'll just interrupt you. The weight of the baby, we're told, is 8 pounds and 6 ounces. So now we know it's a son for William and Catherine. And I'm just being told that the baby was delivered shortly after 4 p.m., 4:24 p.m. and 4:24 p.m. Yes, all this news just being relayed to us outside the Lindo Wing here at St Mary's, and the world's media, which has been gathered here, relaying that news around the world with enormous interest. We're told that the Duke of Cambridge was present at the birth. He, of course, was on paternity leave. He had taken paternity leave from his RAF duties to spend the last 7 days or so with Catherine. We believe that she was around a week overdue and therefore was travelling with her to the hospital this morning, has been by her side and certainly was present for the birth, as one would expect of a very modern couple.
Because it's just an extraordinary event, and I think that's
A pregnancy in the public eye, no hiding away from the cameras. The royal duties continued for the Duchess of Cambridge until the final weeks.
How are you feeling?
But it was a difficult start, here leaving hospital after being treated for acute morning sickness. It forced an early pregnancy announcement. A hoax phone call to the hospital and the suicide of a nurse there added to the initial stress.
Hello, I like your pigtails. How cool are those? Is this for me?
But after some time to recover privately in those early weeks, the Duchess was back. And wherever she went, the gifts, the questions, the chat was of the baby. She gave little away.
New baby on board.
With his great-grandmother in her 61st year on the throne, and his grandfather and father ahead of him in the line of succession, it will be some time before the Duke and Duchess's son is king.
It is in the nature of these next few years, in his upbringing, in his childhood, in the character and values that are instilled in him at this stage, that will determine how the British people view their monarch.
Her Royal Highness, the Princess Elizabeth, Duchess of Edinburgh, was safely delivered of a prince at 9:14 p.m.
In the past, there was a formality to the royal birth announcements. Much has changed. After Prince William was born at St Mary's Hospital, his father spoke to the media.
How is Lady Di?
She's very well, Vicky. Marvellous.
Was it a very painful experience?
Have you ever had a baby?
No, I haven't.
I should wait and see.
And from the moment the new prince appeared on the hospital steps, it was clear his upbringing would be different, less formal. He learnt to deal with the cameras at an early age at regular photo calls. There were some unguarded moments, public shows of affection. And even as his parents' marriage broke down, on important days the family was usually together. William will now be fiercely protective of his wife and child, but controlling the level of interest from the public and the media is increasingly problematic.
The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge will probably say, we know people are interested in this child, but we don't want them set upon, we don't want them frightened, and we don't want them in any way to not think they can't live a really ordinary, happy childhood.
Diana brought her sons up here at Kensington Palace. William and Catherine will bring their son up here too. But he'll also have another strong influence in his life, the Middletons. The Duchess of Cambridge's childhood memories are of a strong family unit in rural Berkshire. Royal life appears not to have diminished that bond. And there is speculation that the Duchess will now go home to Mum for a few weeks.
I think Carol Middleton will play quite a big part in the upbringing of this royal baby. Kate is very close to her, and she is the only grandmother. Diana, sadly, is no longer around. So I think the grand maternal duties will fall to Carol Middleton.
William's childhood broke with tradition. By royal standards, there was greater freedom. It was more normal, there was less restraint. He is likely to want the same for his son, a little boy who will one day be king. Daniela Ralph, BBC News.